What's up, guys? Blaine Duncan here from Halloween Lives, the podcast of Michael Myers, joined, as always, by my brother and my partner in crime, Austin. What's going on, dude? Welcome to episode number 31. 31.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking about it, and it's a very important number, not only to this franchise, but to just freaks like us that love Halloween, the day in general. 31, man. Right. We made it 31. We could watch an episode every day in October, and this would be the Halloween episode.
That is a great idea. That is a great idea. One. But we should mention that we are going to do something. We haven't talked about this, but we're going to do something really badass for Halloween. We're going to have, if you guys were a part of the live 25 show, that ain't going to be nothing compared to what we have planned for our Halloween show that's going to be coming up, obviously, the week of Halloween. So, that's, dude, 31 episodes. Can't believe we're here. So happy to be here with you, obviously, and keep this thing going down the road. We do want to thank our sponsor, Spook House Studios. They are the sponsor of this show. And right now they are offering a 10% discount on your entire order if you use Halloween Lives, all one word, Halloween Lives, at checkout. You guys go check out www.spookhousestudios.com. They have all kinds of cool horror posters, a couple Michael Myers Halloween designs. Go check them out, spookhousestudios.com. If you guys order, they got 10% off right now for any loyal listeners, fans of the show. Use that Halloween Lives at checkout. Use that code and get yourself 10% off. So thank you to Spook House Studios, obviously, for sponsoring the show. And dude, we've got a good one lined up. We're going to be talking about fan casting or recasting our own version of the original 1978 Halloween. And if that were to be remade again, rebooted again, who we would have for, we're not going through the entire list or the entire cast of characters, but we're going to be talking about the major ones and who we would cast. But before we get to that, we do have one loyal listener of the show, Justin, who goes by The Shape of Winter on Instagram. Check out Justin, The Shape of Winter. He's actually got a couple other Instagram accounts as well, I believe, but he is doing something really, really cool. He's doing a Michael Myers cosplay contest. And him and I were chatting, obviously off the air, and we're talking a little bit about it. And I told him, man, I would love to support this for you and try to get the word out there about this contest. So I'm going to read to you guys a little bit about this. He sent me a super detailed write-up on it. And we can talk about it here for a second. But so if you're going to take part in this, you got to use, if you're going to post a picture of yourself in your Michael Myers cosplay, you have to use hashtag Best Myers of 2023. So it's a challenge contest, a contest for all Michael Myers cosplays to participate in. It's a competitive challenge that showcases their best cosplay photos, in which in the end will be crowned the best Myers of the year. The goal of this annual contest is to promote awesome cosplayers, inspire positivity within the community, and meet different cosplayers. The contest is sponsored by Diabolical Designs and the Evidence Vault, who will be providing the prizes for the winner/winners. By promoting this, you got, I'm not going to read that part because that was specifically for me. The rules of the contest, it's like what's the movie with Will Ferrell? I'm like reading what
Anchorman.
Anchorman, yeah, I'm reading the shit that I should be reading. The rules for the contest are as follows. You must be following at The Shape of Winter. So that's Justin's account. So you go follow Justin right now on Instagram, The Shape of Winter. You must follow The Shape of Winter. You must submit one photo for the competition, either via DM or in a new post. Once submitted, the participant must share the photo to their stories, tagging at The Shape of Winter and using the hashtag Best Myers of 2023. Contest submissions end on September 8th, with voting starting the following week leading to Halloween. So, as you guys know, Austin and I did a little traveling last month, in the month of July, and we did our own Michael Myers cosplay photo shoot thing, where Austin took a bunch of awesome photos of me wearing this mask right behind me and in my costume. I did submit a specific photo for this, so I'm gonna promote the hell out of myself, right? I mean, I'm only doing what most people would do, right? So, number one, go support Justin. Go check out The Shape of Winter on Instagram. But then when it comes time to vote for your boy. Vote for your boy. Get me the best Myers cosplay of 2023. I'd love to have that crown. The prizes are super cool that they're doing prizes as well. But I think just the idea of saying I got voted the best Myers cosplay of 2023 would be just a huge crown to put on my head. So dude, thank you, Justin, obviously, for putting that on. Guys, make sure you go check out Justin and go support this contest. It's just a freaking cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's special about this community is like, and maybe just the horror community in general is if you're a fan of Michael, a fan of Jason, Freddy, most of the time you're not just buying the DVDs. Almost every fan has a Michael mask hanging up, a Freddy glove, or a Jason hockey mask. Like, it's just, I don't know, something about it. I think because these, and we've talked about how weird it is that these guys become like our heroes, but you want to put the mask on and feel how it feels, man. And awesome thing. Justin's a super cool guy. He was on Live 25 and been keeping in touch with him ever since. And it's a super cool contest. And I think one of the cool things is you don't gotta have, I mean, we talked about your ultimate setup earlier on this year. You don't have to have the craziest costume to win this. It's kind of about the energy you bring, and it's for everybody. So
the creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's sharing all of the submissions, and they're badass, dude. Everybody, and like, he's had a really good turnout. Like it's a pretty cool thing just in the community that like is happening, and you don't have to go to H45 to be a part of it. Throw a picture up on Instagram, show off what you got, and maybe win some prizes in the meantime.
And that's the thing for me. Like, I genuinely I want to win it because we've talked about on the show how much I want to play Michael Myers, whether it's in a fan film or a real film or whatever it is. I've mastered the walk. I've studied the look. I have the legit creepy customs coveralls and the sweet mask, and I mean, I've got the whole 9 yards. So for me, to sort of be able to hang my hat on the fact of winning that contest would be just badass as hell. But I also understand there's a lot of cool different cosplays out there and people who have way better stuff than I do. But for me to win that would be pretty special. So yeah, dude, Justin, thank you for obviously keeping us a part of this and allowing us to kind of promote this for you. So we'll keep doing it along the way. And obviously, hey, if I move along in the voting, I'm going to just keep pushing this thing through. So, thank you, Justin. Guys, we're going to get going with our episode tonight. We're going to be fan casting. If we were to go back and cast, we're going to go back and cast the 1978 film as if it's being remade today. We're going to talk about that. We're going to fan cast actors for different roles. One thing that you and I didn't talk about off the air, Austin, but I think we do need to figure out exactly kind of the ground rules, if you will. Some of the actors that I have are a little bit older now, and I think about them maybe in their younger years being cast for specific roles. Like, there might be an actor right now who's, let's just say, 70 years old, but back in a certain era, he would have obviously been that age, and he would still have that look. So I hope that's okay. I hope I'm not breaking any rules or doing anything outside the box there, but we probably should talk about that because there are a couple actors that I have who might be a little bit older than the characters that they're being cast as.
Yeah, and I'll say this. So I think it's cool that you have that because mine is very much like everybody is age specific, except maybe my Michael Myers. It's hard, man. Looking up reputable stuntmen, you're not going to find a 25-year-old with an impressive catalog of stunts. That being said, I don't think Michael Myers necessarily needs to be played by an early 20s man. I just think, I looked for a guy with kind of the right build in that sense. But
you must have put way more work into it than I did because mine, I like my cast, but they're obviously their ages don't necessarily match up with that. But I'm excited as hell to get this thing underway. Like I said, we're fan casting. So if we were going to get the opportunity to remake Halloween 1978, these are the characters that we would be casting for with this. I'm going to go through and I'm going to just read off the characters that we're casting for, and then we'll go through them individually. So obviously you have Michael Myers. We're going to cast for Michael Myers, Dr. Loomis, Laurie Strode, Linda, Annie, Bob, Sheriff Brackett, and Marion Chambers. So that is the group that we're going to be casting for tonight. We realize we left off Lindsay, we left off Tommy. There are some other characters that we're not going to go that deep down the rabbit hole, even though Lindsay and Tommy have a significant role in 1978. It gets especially hard with kids. So we're going to go with that. Where do you want to start? You want to just start with the big guy, go with Michael Myers himself, or do you have an idea for where you want to go?
I think we should build up to the Laurie Strode, Dr. Loomis, Michael Myers. I will say this. Marion Chambers was a late add to our list. I forgot, but I have my pick in my head.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
I know.
Okay.
So I'll
almost ruined the whole show. The whole show here. Let's try to keep the professionalism up, the positivity up, the negativity down. That's fine. If you don't have somebody, that's totally cool.
No, I do, and this might be the one where I go if she was a bit younger. So I'll start off with for Marion.
I got to point out something here real quick too. That was your idea to use Marion Chambers. I didn't even have her on the list originally, and then you forget her.
I know, and then I went back to the list that you were like, here are the characters we should do, and then I forgot that we added that. So that's neither here nor there. That's more on you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this.
Honestly, it says more about you than it does about me.
We hope you're still here for episode number 32 after all the crap that you've had to deal with in the first opening. What are we at? 13 minutes of the show or 12 minutes, whatever. We're getting off track. That's me. That's on me. We haven't even been drinking tonight. We're not even drinking tonight. This is how
speak for yourself. Oh. I got some liquid gold over here.
I've got lemonade.
No.
Lemonade. Also, I'm sunburned to all hell. In case you, if anybody has noticed, I believe I was scorched by Satan himself this week. So if I'm glowing, it's because I'm literally, I can't even touch my skin. I got so sunburned. And Austin got a haircut. You can't tell, but he got a fucking haircut.
I know. I was realizing that today. I got home from the haircut, and she took a significant amount off, and I was like, all right, well, I look exactly the same. So whatever.
Anyway, Jesus, let's get this show on the road. Let's do this.
All right. So I'll come in with this one because it's kind of a last minute weird thing, but I actually do. I think if I could have this actress maybe 10 years ago play Marion Chambers, freaking Kathy Bates, dude. I would love to see her play Marion Chambers. She's super into the horror world. All over in horror movies. There are so many movies where I'm like, I would want a mom like that. And there's so many movies where I'm like, I do not want a mom like that at all. No. She really is a great actress. And maybe it'd be a little bit too big of a name to cast in that role. But I love Kathy Bates. I think she'd knock it out of the park as Marion Chambers. And it has that dark side to her, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and like you said, she's a big fan of horror films. She's been in a lot of different horror films. Even being a part of like American Horror Story, those kind of things. So dude, that's a good casting. I like that. I'm gonna kind of stick with the same theme of somebody who's been in horror movies, and I think. Well, I'll be honest with you. I think every single cast member that I have has been in horror films in some capacity. But this specific actress that we're talking about for Marion Chambers, just going to give you two movies that she was in, Krampus, and finally, one of my most favorite horror movies that has come out in recent years, Hereditary. And I'm talking about the mom from Hereditary, Toni Collette. I would have Toni Collette play Marion Chambers because when I look at that scene in Hereditary, and I don't want to spoiler warning. If you've not seen Hereditary, I'm going to give you a spoiler warning right now. I'll give you a little minute here to pause it, whatever you got to do, because I'm about to throw some shit at you. When the daughter takes the telephone pole to the face and takes her head off, and then Toni Collette is like her character, and I forget the name of her character right now, but when she's like crying and like wailing and weeping in the house, like, dude, that gives me chills because it was so real. Like that scene, it was like she literally lost her daughter. So I really like Toni Collette. I think she's a fantastic actress. I've seen her in other movies as well. But when I was trying to think about like who would be a really good, like kind of just a character that you really doesn't have a significant role in the film, but needs to really sell the fact that there are some things going on that, I mean, even just looking at the whole, like the that opening with when Michael steals the car, like you need an actress who can really sell that. Like, and I think Toni Collette could do that, but I also agree that Kathy Bates could be that same role. But I'm a Toni Collette fan, and she was literally the first person that I thought of when I was thinking of this fan casting. I was like, oh, Toni Collette. Once again, no idea if she'd ever do this, but in my imaginary world, she would be willing to do it.
Dude, that is I'll give that one to you, because that is, you knocked it out of the park with that pick. I think she would be fantastic, and I think in my ideal world, if they were to remake the franchise, I think you stick true with the Halloween one, and then you can go off course, kind of like Rob Zombie, but you don't want to go as crazy as Rob Zombie did. But if you wanted to bring Marion Chambers back in H2, that's a character that, like, like you could increase the role in the second film, and she would absolutely crush it. You are so right that scene in Hereditary really just sells everything you need to know about her, because totally agree. Like, that was the best example of grief I've ever seen in a film. And I can't say enough good stuff about Hereditary as a film in general, and Ari Aster as a director. Blaine, you got to check out Beau is Afraid. That movie gave me a fucking panic attack. And like, it's all I could think about for a week.
That's awesome. I do need to check that out. I absolutely do. That's on my list. Is it on Amazon or like, where'd you see it? How'd you watch
I think I rented it on Amazon for $3 or whatever, but it was totally worth it. But yeah. So I'll give that one to you, man. That is a banger. All right. Love it.
Beautiful. So who are we going with next? You want to go Sheriff Brackett, or you want to go with Bob?
Sheriff Brackett, and I think you'll like my pick.
Doubtful, but go ahead.
Now, this actor, he's always playing first responders. And I'll save the last role that you'll really know. But he played a police captain in the Amazing Spider-Man. He plays currently as a police officer in Law and Order, and he played a firefighter in Rescue Me. And I am talking about Dennis Leary as Sheriff Brackett.
Interesting.
He's a great actor, and I think he's got kind of like the grizzly. I mean, in both versions of Sheriff Brackett we've seen thus far, he's kind of been like a little hardened, even though I'm sure Haddonfield before Michael Myers, probably pretty low crime area. But he pulls off sort of the experienced cop very well in other movies, and I think he would fit right into this, where he's kind of the right like level to be playing a character like Sheriff Brackett. Obviously, the dude has an incredible filmography, but I just, like, if I could have my pick of Sheriff Brackett, budget aside, everything, I think Dennis Leary would be my go-to.
Interesting. So, number one, I'm a huge fan of Dennis Leary. I love Dennis Leary. I love Rescue Me. It was one of my favorite shows for a very long time. Absolutely love that show. It's funny because I think of Dennis Leary when you look at just his different roles over the years. You mentioned that he was in Spider-Man. He was in a personal favorite of mine from when I was a kid, The Sandlot. He plays the stepdad in The Sandlot, and then obviously Rescue Me, and so on and so forth. The thing with Dennis Leary is I don't think Dennis Leary is actually acting, because when you watch interviews with Dennis Leary, he is that same person that he's on screen. Like, he's just kind of an angry, like, he's got a short fuse, and like, he's just sort of rough around the edges. But that's probably why I'm such a fan of his, because he's real. He's like a real dude, and he's very supportive of first responders and has done a lot with like 9/11 and some other charities that pertain to first responders. So he's super cool dude. I think he's a relatively down to earth guy, but dude, I love Dennis Leary. I love that pick. I think it's a great way to cast that sheriff, that character, and not somebody who ever even crossed my mind. I'll be totally honest with you, but that's why this is so cool that, we're talking about who would be cast, specifically for this. I'm going to one up you. Well, maybe not one up you, but I'm gonna also rock with another Dennis. Okay. It's not Dennis Leary, but it is somebody who was originally supposed to be cast in 1978's Halloween as the character of Bob, which is Dennis Quaid. I would go with Dennis Quaid as my sheriff Brackett because much like Dennis Leary, Dennis Quaid has also played those sort of roles where he's been a sheriff. There was a specific show, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head now, but he played like a sheriff in this movie. And I was trying to think of, in my mind, like, yeah, you want to cast that as somebody who has that background and an understanding of what that role would be like as law enforcement and that kind of thing. And I was like, dude, I gotta just like, I'm going to double up here because Dennis Quaid could have been Bob, because at the time Bob and Dennis Quaid and PJ Souls were dating at the time that 1978's Halloween was made. And then I think Dennis he had something else going on, if I remember right. He was filming another movie or another show, whatever it was, and it just didn't work out, so he wasn't able to be that character of Bob. But I was like, how cool would that be if you're going to go back and remake this film, recast this film, to go after a character who was almost cast in the original 1978 and now cast him in a role where he is now about that age, maybe a little bit older. I guess Dennis Quaid might be a little bit older than Brackett was in 78, but who cares? You go back a few years, right? And you cast him at that same age. And Dennis Quaid is my pick for who I would want for Sheriff Brackett, because I think he would fit that role.
I love that pick because the story of the fact that he was supposed to be in the original, right. and that important story of kind of the birth of the shape as we know it, to have him be in the remake, that is so poetically beautiful to do that. I freaking love that pick. And it's the battle of the Dennises, man. I love that pick. And that was somebody that I saw, kind of like my Google search history the last week has been weird. It's like Caucasian actress or Caucasian actor, 50 to 60 years old. Right. And, he wasn't in that category, but he definitely showed up on several of the lists I was looking at. I think that's a great pick, dude. And I think fans would be really excited about that just because it means something to the franchise as a whole.
It's kind of like coming full circle. I mean, that's like,
totally. And I think, he was really blooming at that time. Maybe Halloween was something that he thought, what is this going to be? I'm going to go do these other movies that he did incredibly successful on. But now it's become such a big thing that it's worthy of a Dennis Quaid. And
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I love it, man.
Let's keep rolling with the Bob theme. Let's go with Bob. Who's your Bob? Who are you casting as your Bob?
So for my Bob, I kind of wanted to, I think, just sort of the stereotypes of teenagers have kind of changed. It's not always the jocks that are kind of the cool guys. You kind of got some like nerdier guy, and I say this as a nerdier guy in high school, who somehow had friends, so I know things have changed. But this guy, I think could pull off not only the aviator glasses, but I think he would offer sort of a comic relief to the story, kind of flesh out Bob a little bit. We don't really get much, but we do know he's a jokester. I mean, if Linda thinks that would be him wearing the sheet, clearly the guy's got a sense of humor. And this actor played Eddie Krasbrack in the new It movies, and his name is Jack Dylan Glazer. And yes, he was a very small, tiny kid in those movies, but surprisingly, it's been years since those movies, and the guy's an adult now, and like he kind of has the curly hair, longer look, and he's kind of like a skinnier guy, but totally somebody I could go, oh yeah, he'd probably doing well with the ladies in high school. So yeah, that's awesome. I think he would be a great character. He's been in horror movies. And it feels like a good evolution for that actor.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Never even crossed my mind, because I don't, outside of It and It 2, I've not seen him in anything else. And I'm sure he has been. I'm just not familiar with those other movies. But you're right. He would be that age. They're probably actually I mean, they're probably out of high school now, quite honestly, right? I mean,
I think he's like 19 or 20 years old now, which is nuts. But I only know him from It. I'm sure he's done other things with his career. I mean, how can't you after such a big hit? But
great movie. I love the It remake. Wasn't the biggest fan of It 2, but I still liked it. But the remake of It, fantastic. And he was a good little actor. Like that scene, once again, spoiler warning. The scene when he breaks his arm, that was like that. I remember sitting in the theater being like, that just weirded me out. Not that he like did anything special with that, but that was just such a creepy, eerie scene when he sits up and he looks and his freaking arm is like got like a question mark in it. I mean, it was like, ooh, you need to see somebody about that.
I love him yelling at his mom like, "They're gazebos." He's a cool actor in those films, and like, add 5 years of acting chops. I'm sure he's got it together now. And I think he would fit. There was part of me that wanted to pull like Finn Wolfhard, who was also in that movie. He played whatever the main character, whatever he is in that movie,
I'm blanking on his name, the comic, I know who you're talking about.
I thought he would do it, but that kid is like blowing up now. Right. Like, I don't think he would.
He was on Stranger Things, and he had a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I think he's like in a band or something. He's got like records and shit.
He's like very successful for his age. He is making more money before he turned 21 than I will in my lifetime. He is incredible. So I was trying to be a little bit realistic with who could play this role. So that's my pick for Bob. I think he'd do well.
Love it. I agree. I think he would do well. I'm going to give you my Bob pick right now, and I'm going to give you a character or an actor who has played many different characters on TV in different horror series or different horror franchise. The big one being American Horror Story. He's been in several seasons of this. And he was also the star of the latest Netflix hit series, Dahmer. I'm talking about Evan Peters is going to be my guy to play Bob, because I'm thinking if anybody can pull off those, like you said, those aviator glasses, whatever the hell those thick ass, Coke bottle glasses were, if anybody could pull that off, I think he could do it. And I love how Evan Peters is. First off, he's a phenomenal actor. He pulls off every single role that he ever plays. Like, he nails it, hits it out of the park. And we need a character who is somebody who doesn't have a huge role in this film, but needs to make a significant impact in the small amount that he's there. And I feel like Evan Peters could be that guy. Evan Peters, having the background in horror, knows the importance of just bringing as much as he can, squeezing as much juice out of that as he possibly can. And I think he could do it after giving Linda the old horizontal hustle on the bed. What do you think?
I mean, like, that is a great pick. I think he would be phenomenal. I've watched so much of him in American Horror Story, obviously the Dahmer show. He was in the X-Men movies. He's an incredible actor. And, say there was controversy with the new show, but say what you want about Dahmer. The acting in that show was incredible. I mean, there are parts of the show where you feel sympathetic for this guy that is absolutely a monster and a horrible, horrible person. And I never would have gone into it and been like, damn, don't treat Jeffrey like that. But like right. Evan Peters brings that out.
He did it. Yeah, he sold it.
I love that pick.
Thank you. Yeah, that one, that was one I had a little trouble with. Like, I'm not going to lie. I don't know, if I had to rank like which ones I had the most difficult time choosing, I think that was probably the one that like I had to really think on, like who could that be? Who would be the guy who could, like I said, bring enough out of that role with it still being sort of a very minimal role. And that's the thing, Tommy Doyle, who we're leaving off this list because he was a kid in that movie, probably he did have a much larger role in that film than Bob did, but we're just, we're trying to cast actors as much as we can or as best as we can. And I just quite honestly don't know a ton of kid actors. So Evan Peters would be my pick for Mr. Bob and his glasses and his van. And go get me another beer, Bob. Go get me another beer.
I think he could pull off the kind of Illinois accent as well. I think he'd be great in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But moving on, I think I might have screwed up my list. Do you have Annie next or Linda next?
I can go either way.
All right. You say that pick. Often, Blaine. I will go with Linda Van Dyke. And this actress, this is one of, I believe, 2 Stranger Things actresses that I think really brought it as sort of side characters in that show, and are ready to kind of make, the top 3 here. And she played Chrissy in the latest season of Stranger Things, who is a cheerleader, and absolutely just gorgeous actress. She would definitely pull off the popular girl. And her name is Grace Van Dien, which sounds like Linda Van Dyke. So
sure does.
I was kind of looking through, again, weird Google search, young actresses. And she came up and I was like, oh my God, she killed it in Stranger Things. And she was alive, spoiler alert, very shortly in that show. I think she's whacked in the first episode. So, right. For her to make that impact, and she did mean a lot to that season, but her character was great in that film. She definitely is like, she pulled off this like popular girl who is actually like, you think she's one dimensional and kind of a bitch. And then she shows that she's got this like really warm heart to her. And that's, in my head, Linda Van Dyke. Like, that's what I want. So
yeah, I think that's a great pick. And I think I like the fact that she is younger, because she is younger than my pick will be for this. My pick, you're going to have to think back a few years, but I could totally see that. Like, I really can. I think, and I think she could also pull off that role of sort of like the, PJ Souls did such a good job, like creating that character as almost like this kind of ditzy blonde, sort of stereotypical, high school girl who was she was a cheerleader and, kind of liked to screw around and, just sort of a party kind of girl. I could see Grace pulling that role off as well. So I like that. And I think that's, talking about Stranger Things, I think Stranger Things did such a great job of casting their characters along the way. And, I personally can't say enough good things about that show. I obviously have seasons that are more of a favorite of mine than others, but the one thing that they have never missed on is their casting, and she was obviously cast very well for that. Even though, like you said, she didn't make it very long in the show, but she was a very well casted character in that show for sure. So good pick, love it. I'm gonna talk about my Linda that I'm casting is a little bit older now. Like, she actually is she's probably in her 40s, maybe late 30s, maybe 40, something like that. So again, you're going to have to do a little bit of a time hop and go back a little ways to when she was a little bit younger, as you really do. I'll be honest with all 3 of the girls that I'm casting for this, but talking about Linda specifically, a character who was in the Prom Night remake, who was in Would You Rather, and who was in a personal favorite movie that I've seen recently that I thought was freaking incredible. And I don't know that you've seen this yet, but the movie X. I'm talking about Brittany Snow, she was like the blonde porn star in X. I don't remember what her name is, but Brittany Snow. And the reason why I have her as my Linda is only because of the role that she pulled off in X, where she played this like very flirty, blonde who was just sort of kind of in her own way, sort of larger than life within her own character. And I was thinking about like who the hell could we cast for this role of Linda, and because once again, much like Bob, like there has to be a lot pulled out of this character. And even though Linda had a much larger role than Bob did, like Linda, she plays a significant impact on like this movie in general. And I really think that Brittany Snow, she's a great actress first off, but she's done horror. She's, like I said, she was in the Prom Night remake and obviously X, and she's done other horror films that I think she would appreciate herself in this role if you could rewind, 15 or 20 years maybe. and have her be that Linda character. And I can picture her, standing there holding the phone and, talking to Laurie and getting choked out by Michael and having this whole scene. So yeah, I'm going with Brittany Snow. And one thing I should have mentioned is that one of the rules that you and I created for this show, or for this fan casting specifically, was that we cannot reuse any actor or actress who has been in any of the movies. So we can't say like, hey, we want to use Danielle Harris as Laurie, or, we can't do anything like that. So if they have been in a film before, they're off the table. You can't use them. So we're thinking of brand new people to be cast in these roles. But yeah, that's Linda is Brittany Snow in my mind. That's the way I'm going.
So I actually recently, in the last couple months, saw X, and when you first described it, I was because I don't think I've seen the Prom Night remake, but I had to think about it because first I was thinking of Mia Goth, who plays the main actress in that film, and she is an incredibly talented actress who is very much ingrained into the DNA of horror in 2023. But yeah, Brittany played a great character and very Linda-like. It was great. It was weird seeing her hooking up with Kid Cudi. That was a weird thing for me. But other than that, like, it was a really good film. And I think she played that character to the fullest. Like, she did great. And I think she'd make a great Linda.
X was a great movie. I have yet to see Pearl. I've not seen Pearl. And I knew they have Maxine is going to be coming out here. I think it's next summer or next fall or something like that. Maybe it's this fall. I don't even know. But there's another one that's coming out. So I need to watch Pearl, because Pearl is sort of the prequel to X. So I got to see that. But yeah, dude, I thought X was one of the better movies, much like Hereditary. I thought X was one of the better horror movies that I've seen in a long time as far as new horror goes. So yeah, hats off to Brittany Snow. You are my Linda.
Amazing. All right. So I'm going to move on to Annie Brackett. Now, I didn't consider at all whether this actress was supposed to look like Dennis Leary. Honestly, I hope no actresses really look like Dennis Leary now in his like 50s.
I'm afraid where this is going.
I'm saying I didn't go that way. I did not go that way.
Okay. I was going to say, because I feel like if it is, we need to like put like a warning up. Like, hopefully this actress is not watching this, because if you're telling her that she looks like Dennis Leary, you're probably liable to get a lawsuit or something.
As a great compliment, I think Dennis Leary is a fine looking gentleman. But this actress does not look like him. So the only role I have seen her in, I know she has been in things further and is elevating her career. But sort of to if you go to the dichotomy between Linda and Annie, you've kind of got Linda who's pushing Laurie towards like the fun, do drugs, party, get laid, whatever. And I like to think of Annie as like your classic kind of hometown girl who's, she's still trying to have fun, but she's very realistic, maybe wise beyond her years. And this actress played Laura Kinney in the Logan film. It was the R-rated gritty Wolverine film that came out a few years ago. And she played like Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's daughter in that film. But since kind of like Jack Dylan Glazer from It, has since grown into a woman actress who is doing big things. Her name is Daphne Keane, and she like pulled off that badass snarky vibe so well when she was like 12 that I can't imagine what she's like now. The acting chops have got to be there, and she just has the look, man. I mean, this is the one that I really just casted off the look, and I think it would work really well. And yeah, that's my pick for Annie. If you haven't seen Logan, go check it out.
Yeah. So those movies, as you know, I'm not big on the superhero movies. I just never have been, never will be. It's just not really my world. But I should see that, because I have heard how good those films are. Just once again, it's just not really my thing. But I just looked up a picture of her first off, she's a smoke show. So we're not knocking her. We're not saying she looks like Dennis Leary at all. But I could see that. I think she's got sort of that wholesome look, like that kind of girl next door sort of thing, which is what, that's sort of the way that I looked at Annie Brackett a little bit, like you were kind of talking about. Like Annie, you had on one side, you had Linda, on the other side, you had Laurie, and sort of in the middle, you had Annie, who was sort of getting pulled both ways. Like you could tell Annie was obviously the sheriff's daughter, so I'm sure there was a little bit of an ego trip with that, and I think you see some of that in some of the interactions when the hardware store gets broken into and they have that conversation there at the car, but you see Annie, she's smoking pot. She's obviously fooling around with Paul. Like she is a teenage girl through and through, but I think she is much more down to earth and sort of, focused, I guess, maybe than Linda, who is clearly supposed to be like the wild child and who's trying to, pull both Laurie and Annie along the way. So, yeah, dude, I love that pick. I think that's great. And I mean, quite honestly, I think it's just awesome. My pick is probably, I don't know that you've seen either of these movies, but they're two movies that I have seen recently, and it was somebody that came up in my mind. And for Annie, I would cast a woman or a woman by the name of Ava Hamilton, and she was in The Shed, and she was also in Mutilator 2, which I love the original Mutilator. If you've not seen that, it's a good slasher flick. She was in Mutilator 2, but she's a brunette. And she's got, I don't know, man, she's got this look about her that it's like, she looks like, like she's a good girl, but you can also see at the same time, like she could cause you some trouble. And I feel like that's Annie, that's Annie through and through. That I feel like Annie was the same way. Like she looks pretty wholesome, but then kind of, you just know that there's this wild streak in her. And that's how I would picture this, Ava being cast in this Annie role is the same exact way as what we got in 1978 with Annie. And then I picture like the whole death scene, and I think Ava could pull that out because I've seen some of the death scenes that she's been a part of in other movies, and I think she could really sell it. And that is honestly one of the only critiques that I have about 1978's Halloween, and I've talked about this on the show before, that Annie's death scene, like the way she just like goes from struggling to like dead with her mouth open, and she just, and it's like, it was really bad. And I've heard stories that there was like, she was just over it at that point. She wanted to get the hell off the set and things like that. So Ava, if you're watching this, if you get cast for my remake of Halloween 1978, please don't be a diva on set and sell that death scene more than what we got in 1978's Halloween, because that was like, if I have to critique anything about the film, that was one thing that I just, every time I watched it, I'm like, God, why didn't they tell her, please sell that a little bit more? Like, don't make it look so comical, And she just you did with your face, right? I mean, her mouth is wide open. It's just ridiculous. So, Ava Hamilton, would love to see her cast as Annie in the remake. Again, at times the second remake of Halloween 1978. That's my pick for Annie.
Yeah, and I think like if I'm directing this film, I kind of want Linda to be like the super girly girl, and Annie almost not quite a tomboy, but kind of teetering on the edge of that, where, if you're in high school, you're like, damn, this chick is smoking, but she's also like kind of, maybe she hangs with the boys, like maybe she's just kind of like
right,
cool like that. And I could see both of those actresses pulling that off.
And that's why that's how I look at this Ava Hamilton. I mean, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, but you could also see her being very just like down to earth at the same time, and being somebody who just gets along. She just moves with the crowd. And so I thought she was actually, when I started thinking about characters of who I would want to cast, she was the very first person that popped into my mind for this entire thing, believe it or not.
I love that. I wish I had the foresight. All of these kind of came after, like, again, weird Google searches. So, except maybe this one. Now, I did have another person in mind for this role, and I'll just say now we're talking Laurie Strode here, so this is huge. This is we're signing this girl to a 3-year or a 3-film deal. She is the spearhead. This is the big break for this actress. Originally, I was thinking before I got to the Jack Dylan Glazer pick, the younger I can't remember her name, but she is the redhead in the It films. She just did a great job, and what I was looking for in my Laurie Strode was someone who could pull off the kind of the studious, nerdy, good girl side, but also still cool enough to be hanging with people like Linda. And I was so ready to cast that actress in this role until I thought of the other Stranger Things actress that I think would knock this out of the frickin' park. She played Robin in Stranger Things. She was in Little Women. She is the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. So the DNA is good, man.
Yeah, the DNA is great.
Maya Hawke not only looks like Laurie Strode, but she is an incredible actress. She has it all. I mean, she can pull off she probably would be hanging out with people like Linda, but there's kind of that deeper side to her. She's just kind of like, she's not like glamorous. She's just like a naturally beautiful girl. And I think she would be an incredible Laurie Strode, man.
Dude, home run, grand slam.
Huge.
Yeah. That I wish I had thought of her myself, because now I don't even want to say who mine is now, because that is the perfect pick. She is like girl next door cute. You can tell she's very studious looking. But yeah, at the same time, you could see how she's going to have some smoke show friends. Like because she's a good looking girl. So she's going to have friends who are like the Lindas and the Annies and things like that. She's going to be, maybe, like I said, studious, but still a part of the popular crowd in some ways. So
Ben Tramer is going to want to take her to the dance, man.
Yeah, Ben Tramer, he is very, very interested. Well, first off, I didn't realize that it was Ethan Hawke's daughter.
Dude, yeah. No, she has like the pedigree of Hollywood. She is
insanity. I had no idea.
She kind of looks like him too, if you like put them side by side.
Don't say that. That'll ruin it for me. I will never be able to look at her the same again.
I think she'd be a badass Laurie, and somebody that, like, if they told us that was the casting for the next 3 films, I'd be like, holy shit, they knocked it out of the park. Like, that is a great pick.
Yeah, no, that's
not to pat myself on my own back, but whatever.
No, I'm virtually patting you on the back. Soon to be, we'll patting you on the back soon as we're going to be having our studio at some point here in the very near future. But for now, I'm giving you a virtual pat on the back. I don't even want to say who mine is at this point. I am going to say it because we want to get them on the list, but you definitely won this round. My Laurie Strode was somebody who I struggle with a little bit again, because I think they're very, very, it's a very specific role. And this is a little bit more outside the box, maybe not quite as wholesome and girl next door looking. But from It Follows and The Guest, which is, I love The Guest, one of my once again, a great movie of recent times. Micah Monroe, who plays, she's the daughter in The Guest. Once again, very, very a gorgeous girl, but can maybe dumb that. I don't want to say dumb that down. Take that down a little bit and be a little bit more sort of natural, sort of girl next door look if she wanted to. I'm not even going to explain myself because you freaking took my head off in this round. So that was who I picked. Still think she'd be a good plan B, but your pick is by far better than mine. So you win.
I think she might have the dub there as far as like acting chops in a horror film.
Right.
She can pull that off. Actually, what do you know the actor's name from The Guest? The main character.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Daniel. Hold on. I'm typing it in quick. Somebody's probably like screaming it at their TV right now. It is Dan Stevens. He was actually like, when I was thinking of casting Michael Myers, like if you wanted to get a real actor to play Michael Myers, that's a good idea.
I was like, he would be great at that role.
Yeah,
I ended up going the stuntman route, but when I was thinking of like maybe they do like some younger scenes or whatever. I thought maybe he would be good. But yeah, no, the Guest is a great film. I think she could do it, man. I think she totally could. But yeah, no, that was good stuff. Now,
great pick.
We are coming down to the final two characters here. And we're going to start with probably the biggest acting role in this film.
Yes.
Yep. And that is Dr. Samuel Loomis.
I'm just going to say right now, I'm going to just say something right now before we get going. I don't know why, but I have this. You and I have not told each other what our lists are, but I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to pick the same person. I don't know why. Go ahead.
I hope we did. Because I kind of went off the beaten path a little bit. Maybe I didn't. My first pick would have been the guy who played Tony Soprano, man. I would have loved.
Oh, James Gandolfini?
Yeah, bro.
Jesus.
These fucking Michael Myers guys. He's a pain in my ass. He's pure evil. I knew it from the fucking start. I think he would have been amazing.
Dude, no.
Christopher, come.
Michael. I can't even do a New York accent. No. Hell no. James Gandolfini is rolling over in his damn grave right now. So is Donald Pleasance. Christ.
Oh my God. No, it would have been amazing if he's breathing really hard.
Sweating.
I shot him 6 times.
Smoking a stogie.
Yeah. I shot him 6
with a pinky
times.
ring.
He lives.
No. Wrong.
I went a very different direction. I wanted an actor who he's got experience in horror films, some of the best horror films of all time. And I needed somebody with the craziness that comes with Loomis, but also can pull off the seriousness. And you need someone who's got an incredible voice. And I went with Sir Willem Dafoe as my Dr. Loomis.
I thought you were going another direction because I thought we were lined up, but no. Okay, tell me more.
I think Willem Dafoe, you might look at him and go, well, that's not Dr. Loomis. Forget the looks. I mean, I think that matters more for some of the younger characters. I think you need someone who is absolutely a masterclass actor in this role. You can't, I think if you're going to have a budget for this film for acting, 40% of it might have to go to Dr. Loomis. Like, you need this guy to sell the shit out of this role. And I think Willem Dafoe can do no wrong. He seems like just such a cool guy. And when you think of some of the dark speeches that Loomis gives in that film, now I wouldn't want to go word for word. And obviously he's not British or doesn't have the accent. Maybe he would do it, but I think of Willem Dafoe and his right. Whatever. I'm starting to sound like Gilbert Gottfried. He was my other pick. Michael Myers is a menace. But I think Willem Dafoe would be incredible. And I think he's got the acting chops. He would be sort of that guy where, okay, this guy's maybe a little crazy, but maybe he's the only one who's right here.
Dude, but picture this for a second. Okay, picture this. Donald Pleasance I should say Dr. Loomis, not Donald Pleasance. Dr. Loomis and Sheriff Brackett in the Myers house talking about Michael, and he gives the whole speech, right? You have Dennis Leary and William Dafoe. They look like twins. Like, they look like they could be cousins talking to each other. You know what I mean?
There was so much testosterone in that room, bro. It would be incredible. I agree. Yeah, they are almost the same. They're definitely like the same genre of human.
Yeah. It's like Wayne Gretzky and William Dafoe had a baby, and it looks like Dennis Leary.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's my pick. Yeah, okay. Maybe it doesn't flow as well with Sheriff Brackett, but I would love to see Willem Dafoe play that act.
It's a great pick, and it honestly, you convinced me. So I'm actually in the night or the 11th hour here. I am changing who I am selecting based on what you just said, because Donald Pleasance in that role of Dr. Loomis was such a vital, important part of that film. Like, you're talking budgetary, like budget wise and everything else, right? Everything has to go towards this character because this is the character that is going to sell this whole thing. Where I was originally going, and maybe you'll kind of pick up on why I was kind of smiling and why I thought we were going the same direction. I was originally going to say, so I had two choices coming into this show as we were planning it out. I had two choices, and I went with this character. This is the character that's on my list, or the name that's on my list, but I'm going to switch it. But the person who was originally on my list, Robert Englund.
Oh, dude, he was in my like bottom, like, or top three. Like, yeah. I was like, okay, but I thought you were going to get me on the technicality that he was a part of the original Halloween film.
Oh, see,
it was like painting leaves.
That's why. Yeah, no, I never even thought about that. But you're right. We did talk about that on a previous episode, that he was behind the camera. No, I just thought it would be kind of cool. Like, the dude is such a horror icon, and it's like, it would be just so cool to have him in that role, and he could really pull off that dark character of like really selling this horrible thing. But there is one other character who I do believe is actually British, or he's Irish or something. I mean, he's from somewhere in the UK area, who also brings sort of that same intensity. And that is, I forgot his first name. I had to look up his first name here, because oh Jesus. Hold on. We're gonna have to take a time out here, because do a dance or something for the audience at home.
I've got it ready, because as you were talking about Robert Englund, all I could think of was, I shot him 6 times, bitch.
I shot him 6 times, bitch.
It sounds like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah, maybe the Hulkster could have been. We could have had the Hulkster pull off one of these roles, or Macho Man Randy Savage. No, Liam Neeson.
Oh, dude, he was on my list too. He's badass.
Liam Neeson. I couldn't remember his first name at the one just like 7 seconds ago. Liam Neeson, because like when you think about the roles that he plays, like the serious characters that he plays, I could see like you might have to change the look of Loomis, right? He might not be the balding, whatever, but I think he could pull off the intensity of that role. And so I'm reverting back to what I originally was going to go with until just right before we started this show. And I went, you know what? I'm going to go with Robert Englund. I'm going to give him the nod. I'm going to call out the lefty out of the bullpen and say that Liam Neeson is my guy. He's going to be my Dr. Loomis.
That's my favorite pick of yours. I think when you think of like the speeches that Donald Pleasance gave, hearing that in the same voice that did like I don't know who you are, but I've got a very specific set of skills from Taken. Like, right. He has a great voice, and like I think has that degree or that resume that really would solidify the film, that I think it is really important to do with a character like Loomis. And yeah, if you're doing a new franchise, love to see him, Liam Neeson, in all 3 films. Like, would be incredible.
Yeah, I was trying to think of actors who, and I don't know if he's British, but he's something, right? He's something
Irish.
Is that what he is? Okay, yeah. So he's got the accent and whatever, but yeah, dude, I think he could bring that fire, that intensity, and really sell that role and sell the story of why Michael is who he is and why he's this evil character, or at least this evil kid who Loomis is obviously so obsessed with. So we are at our final character, and we're talking about Michael freaking Myers here. Who do you got as your Michael Myers?
So I tried to go with someone that, obviously has dealt with like blockbuster Hollywood films. I went far more Nick Castle build than Tyler Mane. Sure. This guy is 5'10", 160, which I feel like is a great size for that. And, you put him in boots, he's 6 foot. But he's got the kind of I don't want to say lankier build, but because this guy is freaking muscular, but he recently was Keanu Reeves stunt double for John Wick 4. And he is an extremely talented stuntman and martial artist. He goes by the name of Scott Adkins. Every picture I saw of him, he was like doing kung fu and shit. So I have actually no idea what he looks like. Perfect for the shape. Okay. But he just had a really good like degree, and he's obviously working on these A-list films. And I thought, this guy clearly has the chops. Let's do it. Like I said, go for it.
I have no idea who. I was just gonna say I have no idea who he is, but I'm guessing just based on the way that he looks here that he would like you said, if he's only 5'10", but you throw some boots on him, you're gonna get him up to about 6 feet, and I feel like that's probably about the size of Nick Castle. I don't know exactly how big Nick Castle was, but probably about the same size.
Yeah, I mean, I as much as I enjoy like Tyler Mane playing Michael Myers, or Ken Kurtzinger, I believe is how you say his last name, playing Jason, where you're just towering over your victims. It's cool, but you lose a little bit of like it could be you, it could be anybody of Michael Myers.
Yep.
And I think, you kind of want somebody. I mean, I was looking at stunt doubles that like backed up like Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, and I'm like, these guys are too like beefy and big, even though they've got incredible resumes. I don't want Michael Myers to be a bodybuilder. He's not getting prison jacked in Smith's Grove.
Right.
He's eating like the mashed potatoes from last week on his tray. So
yeah, I love it, dude. I'll tell you the person who I had originally chosen for this, just really up until about a day or so ago when I was thinking more about it, was CJ Graham, who played Jason in part 6. I love that Jason. I love Jason Lives, that character of Friday the 13th part 6. But CJ's a big dude. Like he's a freaking ripped dude. And you kind of going back to what you said, he's not really like the Michael Myers that we know in 1978. Still could be cool to see him in that larger role. I was even thinking Kane Hodder, but Kane Hodder has just such a distinct walk. Like even when I met Kane Hodder in person, and even just watching him walk, it's like, holy shit, that's Jason Voorhees walking. Like just the way he moves, it's like that's Kane Hodder, that is Jason Voorhees. But I'm gonna go with somebody who played a killer in another film, another masked killer in another film that I absolutely love. It's a favorite of mine, and it's something that I've honestly contemplated doing for Halloween this year, even though I just got this mask and I just got the creepy coveralls. I'm talking Kip Weeks, who played the masked man in The Strangers, or the awesome. Man in the Mask. Yeah, so he was a guy by the name of Kip Weeks, or is a guy by the name of Kip Weeks. And I just thought his frame, and he's probably obviously bigger, most likely bigger than than Nick Castle was, but just the way he moved and sort of his stealthiness and the way he lurked in the background, which I'm sure was all acting, right? It was all what he was instructed to do. But I think if he could bring that role to Michael Myers, I would love to see that, because I thought he did such a fantastic job as the man in the mask in The Strangers, which is just a fantastic freaking film. You and I just watched it last year, I think, together, and love the film. Love how he was just so like stocky, like he would just stalk and he would just lurk in the background. So Michael Myers-esque. So that's my Michael Myers. I'm going with Kip Weeks. I think he could do a hell of a job. Throw that white mask on him again and put him in some coveralls. And goddamn, you got yourself Michael Myers there, son.
I also teetered towards Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the It films. Again, it's just tough because that guy's got huge.
He's like 6'7" or 6'5" or some shit too. He's a big dude. Like yeah, I know he's thin, but I think he's a tall drink of water.
Yeah, I think he would be a very lanky Myers. But yeah, I just, you want somebody who's got and like you're talking about, you want that physicality and like the ability to act without using words or even seeing your face.
Exactly.
It's a tough job. And I think that's why you get guys who are stuntmen doing it, because that is what they are trained to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, that was a sweet fan cast. Like I want to see either one of these movies.
That's right.
Everything was great.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a lot of fun to do this. This was your idea to kind of come up with like a fan cast idea. And I thought it was a great idea and really a lot of fun to think about. We would love to hear from you guys. Who would you want to be in your fan casting of a reboot or remake of Halloween 1978? Who would you want that to be? Who do you want to play your Michael Myers? Who do you want to play your Laurie Strode? Who do you agree with as far as you liked my picks? You liked Austin's picks. You liked some of my picks. You liked some of Austin's picks. Whatever it is. If you think we're both full of shit, let us know. Hit the comments, hit the comments down below. Let us know what you think. Obviously, make sure you hit the like. What were you gonna say something?
I raised my hand like I was in fucking math class.
Go ahead,
teacher.
Yes.
No, I was gonna say, I think it might be time to do another poll, man. Whose movie do you think would be better?
Sure, let's do it. I'll throw it up on the Instagram page. We'll get that up. Who do you guys think had the better fan cast? It was 50-50 when we did our draft last April. 50-50. I don't even know how the hell that's possible, but we got 50% of the votes said I did a better job. 50% said Austin. So we'll hit you guys again with that. Go to our Instagram at halloween.lives.podcast. Hit us up on there. Make sure you guys comment on this, like, subscribe. You know the drill. And obviously make sure you go out to www.spookhousestudios.com. Take advantage of that 10% off on your entire order. They got some awesome stuff. And thank you to them for supporting this podcast like they have since the very beginning. And thank you to all of you who've supported us from the beginning. And of course, to our new listeners and new subscribers. We can't tell you guys how much we appreciate. Can't tell you enough how much we appreciate it. And you know what I have to say? I would love if James Gandolfini would roll us out on this episode. What do you say? Can James Gandolfini take us out?
James Gandolfini, the ideal Dr. Loomis, will take us out.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you something. You're gonna want to like, you're gonna want to subscribe, you're gonna want to share, do everything, all right? But most of all, don't get pinched. All right. We'll see you next time on Halloween Lives, the podcast.